What we're going to talk about today has the potential to change your relationship with life on a moment-to-moment basis for the rest of your existence. This is exactly what it did to me. I've had this information taught to me 4 times in a professional setting. The first time was at Unleash the Power Within event. And once you understand this stuff, once you get this and you can talk about it and even teach it to others, the challenge then becomes being present and mindful enough in the moments where it matters to implement this stuff. This stuff is truly life-changing. I hope you are ready to receive the goodness that is in this presentation, because we're going to be talking about the 3 things that are affecting the way we feel at any moment. So this is our state. You can see that green triangle there. This is our state. Are you in a happy state, sad state, creative state, resourceful state, depressed, downer, negative state? What state are you in? And what are the 3 things that are affecting our state? Here they are. We have our focus, our language, and our physiology. These are the things that we're going to be talking about in this presentation. Yes, there's other foundations, like if you treat your body like crap with food and drugs and you don't sleep, etc., that's going to affect your ability to act on these things. But this is what's affecting us on a moment-to-moment basis. Let's unpack it. Because happiness, guys, feeling good and good feelings, it isn't something we earn. It isn't something we chase. It isn't something that we find. It's something that we choose. Positive emotion is a thing that we choose, because we can have the world falling down around us from all angles, but choose to be grateful and happy for what we do have, for the air in our lungs, for the feet on the ground, for our relationships. Or we can be like one of the many miserable millionaires that we hear about who seemingly have everything that we could need to feel good and live a good life. But hey, they're choosing to not feel good. Why would you choose not to feel good? Bit of a complex fucking paradox of life, I know, but that's the truth. Some people get a huge significance from being unhappy that it blocks them from making the choice to feel better and to be happy. But with what we're about to talk about here, you're going to have, dare I say, a better understanding of this stuff more than you ever have before. And if you know this stuff already, great reminder to make sure we're implementing it and doing it to the best of our abilities. Let me introduce you to this guy here, Nick. He's someone who actually came and presented at my school when I was in primary school, Claregate Public. Nick had a pretty interesting start to life. This guy was born without arms or legs. Bullying and depression was a big part of his upbringing, and you kind of wouldn't have blamed him for getting bitter and for falling into this negative state of mind. Like, how tough must it be? The bullying would get to you so much. Like, you can imagine what this guy went through. And what does Nick do with it? Becomes a successful, happy entrepreneur, family man, keynote speaker that impacts the lives of millions. And it's like, well, how did he do it? How does he not fall into the depressive states that people a lot more fortunate than him seem to not be able to avoid? And the answer is what we're talking about here. The 3 things that are affecting the way we feel at any moment: our physiology, our focus, and our language. Let's start with the physiology side of things here. So physiology, this is the way we use our bodies. And a little mantra you can hang on to, add to your vocabulary: emotion through motion. Emotion in our bodies can be created through the motion of our bodies. Even someone like Nick, without arms and legs, if you're alive, if you've got a beating heart in your chest, there is physiology that you can move and control. Do this with me real quick. Give yourself a full slack, relaxed, bit of a sad face. Now put a look on your face as if I am one badass motherfucker. Bit of a smirk, bit of a nod, bit of a squint. This is just our face. We have muscles all over our body. We can use our voice in different ways. Am I like trailing off at the end of my sentences and not really making eye contact when I look? Like, these are all examples of physiology. When I was at this first seminar, Tony Robbins did this really great bit where he's teaching us about physiology and teaching us about emotion through motion. And he tells it like this. He says, if I had an imaginary person behind this curtain, and if I told you that I'd give you $100,000 to the charity of your choice, if you can describe their body language, and the only clue that I can give you about their body language is that they're extremely depressed and anxious. Could you describe their body language? He then goes on to ask a few questions like, is this person breathing deeply or shallow? Are they taking up lots of space and have a commanding presence, or are they kind of shrunk away, not taking up much room? Are they making nice eye contact with people, or do they have kind of darting or low-looking eyes? Do they have shoulders back and down, or are they a little bit more slunched over? What's the color of their voice? What gesticulations are they doing with their hands? Do they have like a lot of tension and expression in their face, or are they a little bit more slack and dull? We know all the answers to these things if it was a very anxious and depressed person. Half because we've all practiced this at some point, but half because we are such highly developed social beings. We pick up on cues. So much of what humans do and think and feel is based on other people being a part of that sense of belonging, sense of loneliness, sense of contribution, sense of cooperation and connection. These are all huge parts of life. And our physiology signals to other people. And this is a skill that you can get better at in noticing in others. But for right now, let's make sure we're dialing this in and noticing it for ourselves. We see on the right there, Wonder Woman and Super Duper Man. They're in a pose, and this pose you could call a power pose. Studies on power posing indicated that engaging in expansive body positions will raise testosterone levels, lower cortisol levels, and increase risk-taking. Said another way, it increases the get shit done hormone, it lowers the stress and worry hormone, and increases bravery and courage. All from standing in a powerful posed position. Well, yeah, emotions created through motion, right? Of course, standing with our physiology in a way is going to create emotion in line with that. Now, these studies and such were done on poses. What would be a layer up from poses? Well, moving a whole lot more vigorously. Dance has been a part of every culture since the beginning of culture being a thing. And although there hasn't been formal studies on the dancing and moving part, it's only been done on the posing. It's an easy next step to make. Well, if I stand still powerful, then if I move powerful and use my voice and shake it and move and groove, that is going to have a similar, if not way more big effect. This is what Tony Robbins teaches you in the seminars. Learning the ability to just get out of our minds and into our bodies and just move. Feel the emotions that can come through motioning in certain ways. I want to show you quickly this happy stance. So this is like physiologically the most powerful power pose that's going to give us the most testosterone, biggest stress reduction, and increased positive risk-taking behavior. And it looks something like this. So with like feet, like shoulder width, tensing our glutes a little bit. Stand up, do this with me now. Glutes tensing a bit, kind of presenting our groin to the earth. Arms out at like 45 degrees. Palms up, chin up, big smile on the face, and just breathing. It's like you're about to be abducted into the heavens by loving angels. Your chest is out tall, you just breathe in this position, and you can begin to feel a shift happening just like that. In fact, if you catch yourself in a low motivated, can't feel good move on the lounge, just 3, 2, 1, get up and get in this position and do it for like a minute. See if you can notice something different. Better than that, you would just get up and dance, use your voice, move. Part of the benefits of why exercise is such a productive thing to do is because this whole emotion through motion thing, we train and then we feel better. Although a lot of people wait to feel better to train. It's kind of the less ideal way to go about that sequence. So emotion is created through motion. Respect this, know it, implement it, use your gift of a body to feel good, do good, think good, and get good, all right? Thing 2 that is affecting the way we feel at every moment of every day, and this is what we choose to focus on. With this supercomputer in our minds, we can focus on one thing and feel happy, or we can focus on another thing and feel sad. 10 seconds later, we can focus on another thing and feel horny, or focus on something else and feel guilty. This is the human condition. We've got this supercomputer brain, but some people supercomputer themselves into a state of feeling like crud because they're not focusing on things that empower them. A mantra that we can hold on to this is what we focus on expands, or where focus goes, energy flows. Old mate Nick, did he focus on what was holding him back? Or did he focus on what he could be doing, thinking, feeling, seeing, and experiencing? Nick chose to focus on embracing his uniqueness and using it as a platform to inspire other people. Because remember, guys, you don't experience life. You experience the life that you focus on. Because again, we can have the world falling down around us and choose to focus on the positive things that we still have going. And on the flip side of that, you could have everything seemingly going well for you and focus on the fact that there's one person doing it better than you and then feel unworthy and riddled with self-doubt because one person's doing it better than you, even though you're in front of 99% of other people. It depends what you choose to focus on. Because in a life where there is so many things to focus on and this highly developed brain that is literally filtering and choosing what to focus on every moment of every day, right now you could be focusing on my voice. Or you could choose to focus on the position of your tongue in your mouth. Or you could be focusing on the feeling of your butt in the chair, the gravity pulling you down, or focus on the sounds coming outside or the feeling of your clothes on your body. There's many, many, many things that you could be focusing on. And what do most people tend to focus on? The shit of life, the stuff that's going to make them not feel good, the 1% negative in a room full of 99% positive. That's what they focus on. That's what they feel. Because if where focus goes, energy flows, they're focusing their energy into more of what they don't want. One of the big life hacks for positive well-being is just choosing where to direct your focus. Let's have a bit of focus fun right now. I just want to get the message through of how powerful your noggin is, right? So have a little shakeout, have a breath, and I want you to just picture what I say and bring it to mind. Can you picture an old dusty book on a shelf? Can you picture a strong-looking blacksmith with a beard hammering a sword? Picture yourself with the superhuman ability to jump. You walk outside the front of your house and you jump up super duper high and you're looking down at your house and you see your house and the surrounding houses around it from super high up. Cool. Imagine a green dolphin juggling kittens with its flippers. Isn't this freaking crazy? You can literally imagine anything. You can choose to focus on anything. And if our brain neurochemically cannot distinguish between things that are vividly imagined or experienced in real life, doesn't it make sense to focus on things that make us feel good? And I get it. The things that make us insecure or worried attract our focus the most because our brain is designed to help us survive. Not thrive, survive. So yes, maybe if Debbie makes a bitchy remark and you lose some respect for the group, you might get exiled from the tribe and that will lead to your death. Millions of years ago. But we don't have things to worry about these days like we did back in the day. So every time our brain spits forth something that it wants us to focus on, worry about to keep us safe. Thank you, brain. I know that you're trying to keep us safe, but logically, A, B, C. So thank you. And we are going to do this presentation anyway. I'm going to approach this girl anyway. I'm going to learn this skill even though I haven't done it before and I'm a bit nervous anyway. Let me introduce you here to the idea of modalities and submodalities. So the modes here, still talking about focus, the modes here would be visual or auditory, okay? The submodalities will be the components that make up the visual thing. So let's focus on this visual one for a sec. Our minds think in pictures, okay? So if I said picture a boat, your mind doesn't go B-O-A-T, your mind sees a boat. Whatever boat image that you see, it's a picture in the theater of your mind. Let's play with some of the submodalities of this visual boat you have in your mind right now. Make the boat a movie. It's moving, it's rocking in the waves. Now make it still. Make the boat image in your mind a panorama, like it takes up all your vision in your mind. Now make it a frame. Make it black and white. Now make it a bright, colorful movie, super 3D, high quality viewing from the top. See how we can do all this incredible stuff with our mind? This is very powerful when directed with a purpose. Let me give you an example of this. If there's something that keeps coming to our mind that we don't really want to, the most personal and sensitive example I can give you is when I was having like 2 years of performance anxiety and couldn't get a hard dick. That image would just like come to my mind all the time and I'll just like feel so shit. What you do with images like that, it might be a feeling of sadness or guilt or whatever, the negative thing that's coming to your mind that you can't help. You see it visually. Make it still. Make it black and white. Shrink it down. Shred it up. Push it really far away. Let it go. Throw it away. And then maybe the image comes back like a minute or two later. You repeat this. Shrink it. Black and white. Make it blurry. Scrunch it down. Cut it up. Throw it away in this visual theater of your mind. This is NLP. This is neuro-linguistic programming, if you've heard of it. And on the flip side of that, so those would be thoughts you wouldn't want to have. Let's think now of something we all want, our most amazing, beautiful bodies ever. Bring to mind what your awesome body looks like. Your capped shoulders, your sexy abs and ass, muscly legs, like beautiful bits. Make it a movie. Make it really colorful and vibrant. Bring it close towards you and just take up all the vision of your space in your mind. This is what you do with images that you do want. With the modality of visual, you use the sub-modalities to really focus heavily on things that we do want and to shrink, cut, black and white, throw away images that we don't want. This is a secret focus thing, okay? Let's talk about the auditory piece now. So we can think in sounds, right? We can sing songs, we can think what we're going to say, etc. Different components make up sound. These would be the submodalities, things like volume, cadence, rhythm, inflections, pause, tonality, timbre. We get the point. We've all listened to someone and thought, fuck, cunt, you're so boring. Can you just like change the way you speak? And then we've listened to other people. We're like, I don't even know what he's saying, but I like his energy. This is the auditory things that we're using, the submodalities that we're using. We can use these in our minds as well. Let's use this pleasant little mantra of I love myself, thank you. Which, by the way, was one of the most productive uses for me a couple weeks. On my inhale, I love myself. On my exhale, thank you. And I'll do that for about 10 breaths once or twice a day. And that helped me get through a bit of a self-love episode that I was experiencing. Let's talk about how I could have made that even more productive using the submodalities of auditory. So to be real boring with it, it might be like, I love myself, thank you. 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 Really putting in the cadence, rhythm, tempo, pauses, tonality, timbre, etc. to make it move you. So it's like, I love myself. Thank you. I love myself. Thank you. Whatever it's going to feel like for you to feel realer. And you can practice this and play with it and see what feels good for you. There was this real fun exercise you did in the Tony Robbins seminar where they encourage you to think of someone that you've always wanted to, you know, and even if this person's a celebrity, even if you're in a relationship, there's this person that you've kind of always wanted to just do stuff with, right? He gets you to imagine this person whispering things to you. And these are things that shouldn't really be whispered out loud, right? So they're like flirting with you. And you get them to, just in your mind, imaginarily whisper to the front, whisper to the right, whisper to the back, and whisper to the left. And when you play this out, everyone in the audience notices that there's one particular direction of where that sound is coming from that really gets people like, oh, and feeling it a whole lot more. So that's the sound, move around spatial parts here. You can experiment speaking in your mind to yourself from different directions. And one of the other takeaways there was that for a lot of us, it's the right ear where things like come in and like feel extra nice. So guys, it's your mind, your playground. Play with the modalities and submodalities. If you catch yourself thinking something you would rather not be thinking, do a visual focus. If you find yourself daydreaming and want to amp yourself up or something, do an auditory focus. Even a minute of this a couple times per day can shift the trajectory of our life in a positive direction. Last piece of the emotional triad, guys, is language. This is how we decide to speak as well as think. Because who do we have the most important conversations with? ourselves. We're thinking and talking to ourselves and guiding ourselves through things. Language is important because the words we choose to use have a powerful impact on our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. Our word choice not only reflects our attitudes and beliefs, but it can shape our attitudes and beliefs. The words that we choose to use can change the way we think and feel. Because remember, what you write, you invite. What you speak, you invite. Because the words that we use really shape our reality. Spelling, right? Cast a spell. The words are like spells, and then the magic is the thought that it brings to our life. Because I tell you, the difference between saying, I can't do that, and I can't do that yet, worlds apart. Just adding in that yet there leaves the door open in your mind for the next thought to come in on that problem. Where if we just say, I can't do that, it's like, yep, full stop, done. Be ever so careful with your words and such. Call yourself out. Take notice of these things. My old results coach would play the Disney game, like Disney, Once Upon a Time. And it was like whenever she would catch me using language that was disempowering or that she would know I wouldn't want to be true, she would say Disney. And then I'd have to change it to once upon a time I used to believe blah, blah, blah. So it would play out like something, oh, I'm really nervous to do sales calls and I don't think I'm that good at it. It should be like Disney. And I'd be like, oh, well, once upon a time, I used to find it really hard to do sales calls, but I understand that it's a skill. And like all skills, I can get some reps in and get better at it. I'm so lucky to have access to learnings online, and I know I can really smash this if I want. Choose to play the Disney game with yourself, or if you can get a partner or roommate in on this as well, Disney game can be fun. Look at language. I can't can become I can. Instead of failing, you can be learning. Instead of being helpless, just be in control. Say you're in control. Open up the thought gate of control rather than helplessness. Instead of being stuck, you can be improving. Instead of being resentful, you can focus on what makes you grateful, right? Instead of having to do something, you can choose to do something. This is one that I used a lot. This is frustrating. This is fucking annoying. This is whatever. This is fascinating. The parts of your mind that change when you're being frustrated at a thing rather than fascinated at the thing is completely different. Cheat meals. What sort of connotations do we have with cheaters and people who cheat? Treat, a little bit nicer, right? No problem, can be happy to help. Instead of, oh, I should go to the gym, I will go to the gym. This is the emotional triad. These are things that are affecting our state on a moment-to-moment basis. If you want to live your life in a happy, joyous, playful, creative, romantic state, you need to manage the language you're using, what you're choosing to focus on, and your physiology. The big tip here, draw a triangle, write state in the middle, write these 3 words on the outside and put it somewhere you're going to see regularly for like 30 days so you can really begin to entrain this into your thinking and how you go about life. Put one in your kitchen, car, bathroom, desk. Just really see and take notice of these things. Catch yourself if you're in this weak physiology on the lounge, like jump up and do something. If you find yourself focusing on something you don't really want to focus on and you notice that, yes, you're moving in the right direction to make massive change, because so many people just get carried off on the focus train without knowing it. And then language, guys, use empowering language. It's going to change the thoughts and therefore the feelings and actions that come into our life. Peace, love, and progress. Goodbye.